Marco Palestra is exactly the reason why I opened this channel. Let me explain that. An Italian talent, developed in Italian football I mean, who today, if he gets the chance, runs away from Italy to play in the Premier League. And honestly, he's right. Because Chelsea against Milan was not just a pre-season friendly. For me, it was the perfect example of the gap that now exists between Italian football and English football, of course. In Italy, so many people ask me why I decided to open this new channel in English. Without I can't speak English, but this is another story. But going back to serious, the answer is quite simple. I love football. And if you love football today, you cannot ignore English football. There is too much quality, too much intensity, and of course, too much money, too much ambition. And Chelsea against Milan showed it perfectly. Hey, oh, ma, a porta! Oh! Cavolo. So, let me also answer another question. What direction will this channel take? Very simple. I'll try to comment on the most important Premier League games. And since almost every Premier League games feels important, maybe that's already a lie. But the idea is to follow at least one game a week. Yes. Then with time, maybe we'll increase that. Because unfortunately at the moment I already have another channel that takes up really a huge amount of time during the weekend because of Serie A. So right now I can do this full time. Even if, believe me, I would absolutely love to. But as I already said, with time, we'll see. Before we get into it, as always, I'm Neschio and this is Beyond the Calcio. If you enjoy these videos, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing this community and bring more content in the future. But now, going back to Chelsea and Milan. One of the biggest differences between Italian football and English football is exactly this. I repeat that. A player like Marco Palestra. I repeat that. A player like Marco Palestra. Today, if he gets the chance, leaves Italy. And he leaves Italy to play quite rightly in the Premier League. And for me, as an Inter fan, yes, of course, I'm an Inter supporter, that's a huge regret, because he would have been incredibly useful for us, for Inter. We're talking about Inter, probably the most competitive Italian team in recent years. 3 league titles in the last 6 seasons. A club that has played at the highest level in Europe. And yet, Marco Palestra goes to Chelsea. Why? Because the Premier League is another world. The competition is different. The economic power is different. And the ambitious, of course, is different. I don't want to repeat always the same words, but you simply cannot compete at the same level. And to sum up, for all these reasons, we end up watching games like Chelsea against Milan. And yes, I know, it's August football, it's pre-season, there were players missing on both sides, Chelsea changed less in the second half, Chelsea looked in better physical conditions. All of that is true, but it's also true that Milan brought on important players who will probably play a lot next season, and still, especially in the second half, I repeat, they barely touched the ball. Honestly, they barely touched the ball. It was a complete siege from Chelsea. The game was played, my friend. The game was played almost in one half of the pitch. And the score lines tells the story quite well. Chelsea won 3-0 with João Pedro scoring twice and Moises Caicedo adding the third with a brilliant finish, no? What a crazy goal. But more than the goals, what impressed me was the control, no? Chelsea didn't just win the game, they controlled the rhythm. They kept Milan pinned back. And in the second half, Milan struggled massively to create anything clean. And that, even in pre-season, say something, because friendlies don't decide a season. Of course, we know that, no? But they can still show you the direction of the team, no? And that for Milan has to be worrying. But I want to focus especially on Marco Palestra, because what he's showing in this preseason is genuinely impressive. And what surprises me the most is his physical condition. We're talking about a player with an important physical structure. So maybe I expected him to need more time, no, to reach top condition. Instead, looks sharp. He has powerful progression with the ball. He carries the ball forward with real confidence. He attacks space. He gets into dangerous areas. And once again, after already showing interesting things against Juventus, he was one of Chelsea's most exciting players. You can see him on the right, you can see him on the left. He looks flexible, he looks brave, he looks ready to take responsibility. And when a player has the trust of his manager, that can open the door to a completely different season. There's not much else to say. If Xabi Alonso believes in him, Palestra has a real chance to become an important player for Chelsea. Of course, we need to be careful. It's still pre-season. We shouldn't exaggerate, but the signs are very positive, no? And for me, this is exactly the kind of player Chelsea should be excited about. Young, physical, technical, aggressive, with the courage to play forward. Then, of course, Chelsea have so much talent. João Pedro is a player I really love, for instance. Once again, he showed how easily he can score. And honestly, I still don't understand how a manager as experienced as Carlo Ancelotti could leave him out of the World Cup squad. For me, that is very difficult to justify, because João Pedro is a serious player, a high-level forward, and the list of Chelsea talented players is really long. But I don't want to focus only on individuals, because yes, maybe this was the first truly convincing performance from Chelsea in pre-season, but there is a new manager, there is a new structure, there is a new idea of football, and the project Xabi Alonso is trying to build looks very, very ambitious. Chelsea looked intense, they looked aggressive, they looked hungry, and above all, they looked like a team with many different solutions. As for Milan, instead, this was a clear step backwards. They looked behind physically, they struggled to get out, they struggled to keep the ball. No? They struggled to defend with control. And again, this is a new project too. Ruben Amorim needs time. His ideas need time. His structure needs time. But the question is simple. Will the ownership have the patience to wait for the work on the training ground? Will Cardinale and the club really give him the time he needs? Because if they don't, then it becomes very, very difficult. I know that. There would be 1,000 other things to say, but I don't want to make this video too heavy. For me, the key point is simple. Chelsea-Milan was only a friendly, but it told us a lot. It told us about Chelsea's potential. It told us about Milan's current difficulties. And above all, it told us that Marco Palestra is a player we need to follow very, very closely. Because he has something. He really has something. Now, as I always say, the ball is in your court. And the question is, how much faith do you have in Xabi Alonso's Chelsea project? How ready do you think Marco Palestra is? And about Milan, do you think Ruben Amorim's Milan project can work? Let me know all of that in the comments. Thank you for watching until the end. As I always say, a big hug from Nesk. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao, 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 ciao. Mamma mia.